Welcome to a quick website customization tutorial for your Sunlight site and store. I'm going to start with this slightly bare bones store layout here, which is nice and clean and white, a bit Google-esque, but doesn't have too much character to it. So I'm going to change the theme completely to make it a bit more customized, a bit more characterful. So what you're going to start with is we're going to apply a body background image. We're going to add a background image to the header, replace this logo, change the text colors, so you've got your title text here for your site nav bar, shop nav bar 1 and shop nav bar 2, a title bar here, and each of your product tiles with a big button on, and you can see that electric blue highlight color which comes across everywhere, including your links. You've also got a nice big banner here, which you can have several scrolling banners. I'll show you how to replace those, and some social network links down here as well. So the first thing you need to do is go to the CMS. You're going to need your website customization module and then the theme customization sub-module. So the first thing we're going to do is apply a body background image. And the way that our body background images work is they tile horizontally and vertically. So you can see I've got quite a thin image here once it uploads. So you can see it's quite thin, but because it tiles, I can save on the load time for users, and it'll then tile seamlessly. I'm now going to add a header background image. You can see the dimensions you'll need. You can use any common image formats, but I personally prefer PNGs. They tend to have the best balance of file size to clarity. So they load quite quickly, but they look nice and clean to your users as well. And the last image I'm going to do is a website logo from the header. And when you do this, you can set a URL that it goes to. So when it's clicked from the header, it'll go to whatever URL you stick in here. I'm going to leave that as it is because that's just our home page. I'm going to update that from the Sunshine logo to an artist logo. Brilliant. So with that done, what I'm going to do next is update the theme colors. This is all done using hex codes, which if you've ever done any HTML or CSS work or any work in things like Photoshop, I'm sure you'll be familiar with already. Otherwise, if you're not, it's very easy to find hex codes that you need. You can either look in HTML files of existing themes that you've got, or use things like Photoshop or GIMP or Paint.net to find the hex code of a particular color. So we can define the hex colors for each of these sort of key aspects, and you can also define an opacity for some of these. So 100% opaque, meaning it's a solid color, all the way down to 0, meaning it's completely transparent, or anything in between. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my background color. So at the moment that's just a white. So I'm going to set it to a green color just to match the body background. The highlight color, so at the moment we've got that electric blue. I'm just going to tone that down slightly just to match the theme a bit better. We've then got our header and footer, which at the moment is a solid white. I'm going to change that to black, but I'm going to make it mostly transparent so you can see the texture through it. Your site navigation bars, that was the one with home and videos and your shop link in there. So I'm going to make that one black as well, and also add a little bit of transparency. The nav bar separator, which was that line in between and around some of the panels, which I'm going to make from a dark grey to just sort of an off-white, so about there should do. And I'll make that a bit more subtle as well. For my shop nav bar, I'm just going to match what I've done for the site one. For my buttons, I'm going to change it from, it's kind of a mid-grey. I'm going to make it a bit darker, and add a slight bit of blue to it as well, just to match the theme. That title bar, so that was this bit here. So at the moment it's a solid black. I'm going to change that so it's actually just a bit softer. We've got our panels, which at the moment are a solid white. I'm just going to add a little bit of transparency to those, just so you can see the texture from the background image. And then once we've gone through those, we've got to our text colors. So you've got your text color here, which is for the nav bars at the top and in the footer and in your buttons. Your title bar text, which is that one that this featured products one here, that titles each page that you go to in the site. And then your primary, secondary, and tertiary text colors. And they pretty much work as you'd expect. The primary one is used for most titles and main bits, so that's on these product tiles here. This is your primary color here. This is your secondary color here, so the price, the second biggest piece of information you need. And then your tertiary color, which is here, and it's also used for your shop nav bar 2 here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change our titles. So in the nav bars, I'm going to change that from a solid black to just a slightly off-white. For the title bar, I'm going to change that so it's slightly mint green to match the rest of the theme. And for our text, I'm just going to add just a little bit of blue to those. I'm going to keep this sort of dark to light theme that I've already got. Cool, and with that done, I've got my images added, I've changed my theme colors and the opacities, and if I hit save changes to apply all of that, I can then go across and hit refresh, and there's my new design. So I've got a nice sort of papery texture. You can see that scrolls that all the way down, so it's tiling quite well. A new highlight color, which is just a bit more subtle, and a nicely themed layout. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this big banner with something a bit more interesting. So I'm just going to need to change from website customization down to my website management module, and here you can see you've got ads and banners here. So you can have up to 5 scrolling banners at any one time. I'm just going to leave it as 1 for now, but all you need to do is just change this to active and it'll start showing in the rotation. And all you need to do is click the edit button on the right. I'll bring up this dialog, and here you can set the URL. I'll leave that as it is, but just copy paste the URL of whatever page you want to link to, even external pages if you want to link people through to your YouTube or Facebook or different pages, or bring attention to a festival that your guys are playing at, anything like that, and then just upload an image. So I've got a different placeholder here, and that just needs to be 980 pixels wide and 350 pixels tall. And again, I prefer PNG files for these. And if I give that a refresh, you can now see that new banner here. So all I need to do is just repeat that process a couple more times, and I'd have my scrolling banners. And finally, the last thing I need to do is I want to update these social network icons to something a bit more interesting and a bit more branded. So to do that, I'm still in the website management module. I just need to go down to social networks, and you can see I've got them in here. So I'm just going to get rid of these 2 that I've already got. I'm just going to add some more. So I'm going to choose my icon. So I've got some square branded ones, and add my URL. I'll just go to Facebook for now and hit save. That's 1, and I'm going to add a Twitter one as well. And you can add that up to 9 icons at any one time. They can link to anywhere that you like. The only thing that you need to do is just make sure the images themselves are 42 pixels wide and 42 pixels high. Again, I prefer PNGs, but there's nothing to stop you using whatever you'd prefer. Twitter.com. And they will appear on the front end in the order that you added them. So I should have Facebook and then Twitter, and if I added more, like a YouTube link and things like that, they'd appear after here. And those will keep going until you run out of space, which is about 9 icons. And that's it. That's how you can create a custom theme, update your banners, and update your social network icons very quickly from the CMS.